some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you. Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to All Things Horror. My name is Ben and I'm joined here with Matt. If you're unfamiliar with the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review, give our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. This week we're going to be talking about Host from 2020. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
Hey! Hi guys. Hey guys! Radina! Caroline! Hi Teddy!
Let's do a shot after us.
Hey everyone, get in. 3, 2, 1. Have you ever done anything like this before?
I've never done this over Zoom. Obviously, we're not physically together, but there's no reason why Spirit can't communicate over the internet.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Visualize us sitting in a circle. Spirit, we invite you to use us to pass on any communication. Is there anyone there? Please come forward.
What was that? Amy, was that you?
I heard it.
I heard something. I think there's something here.
Do you see that?
Emma, that's funny.
I heard something.
You know, we've connected with something. We gotta keep going. We gotta talk to it.
This is not good. I told you not to disrespect the spirits. It could be something demonic.
Hey, this is all your fault! Not my fault! This is your fault! Emma, turn the filters off. Come on.
So, Host from 2020. 6 friends hire a medium to hold a séance via Zoom during lockdown, but they get far more than they bargained for as things go quickly wrong. When an evil spirit starts invading their homes, they begin to realise they might not survive the night. It's directed by Rob Savage. Main cast is Hayley Bishop, Jemma Moore, Emma Webb, Caroline Ward, Radina, Drandova. And it's a very quick film. It's only 57 minutes long. And very good scores on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a critics rating of 99%. I've never seen one that high before. But yeah, Matt, this was highly recommended by you. I don't need to ask you if you've seen this and what you think about it, because this is your pick this week.
Yeah, I'm new to this. Yeah, that's it. I'm really excited to see what the host of our podcast thinks of Host. Yeah, particularly because it's a modern film, one that's new to you. This will be my 3rd time watching it, so also it's shorter than any other films we've watched. I think it's the most up to date, 2020, isn't it? So yeah, I'm really interested, really intrigued. I'm setting you the challenge this week. See what you think.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because found footage movies aren't my go-to. No. I find them a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was
see.
I really enjoyed this one. I was engaged the whole way through. But yeah, very quick film, but I didn't think it was rushed. It seemed very real with everything that was happening.
Obviously now with Zoom limits and stuff, it'd have to have been 40 minutes before the free meeting ran out.
Yeah,
the good old days of 60 minutes for free.
Yeah, but yeah, Rob Savage. He's a director I've not really come across before. Have you seen any of his other films? I see he's got a new one coming out soon called Dashcam. That's the only one I've really that's been on my radar.
So Dashcam, I thought I'd watched, I think I told you this before, I thought I'd watched Dashcam, but I watched a completely different film called Dashcam, and I was just like, this isn't at all what I was expecting. It was the wrong one. I think it was okay, but it wasn't the right film. So Dashcam, I think last year or the year before. The new one, his chance at Hollywood, Boogeyman. So that's his chance to kind of try out a bigger budget and a bigger kind of bigger film, bigger scale. And that'll be interesting to see how people take to that. I think that's out now, maybe out now, or certainly out soon. So yeah, Rob Savage, mainly short films before this, and this coming from a sort of prank played on his friends. I'm looking forward to seeing what you make of it. It's weird, isn't it? It's like a bit of nostalgia for a couple of years ago. I'm already kind of like, oh yeah, I remember when we did that during lockdown. Yeah. Not that I'm pining for lockdown, but because obviously there was some horrendous things that happened in the world, but there were sort of things that everybody shared, wasn't there, during that time, that it's kind of a collective experience, which is unusual to have these days when everybody's we don't watch the same TV channels, we don't watch the same we don't all read the same book. Media is so massive, but we all kind of did similar things to the people in this film, other than possibly the séance.
Did you do a lot of Zoom calls during lockdown?
Yeah, I did, and that's when I changed my role. This is really strange. I changed my role. I started working predominantly online, also watching football games with my friends online, or watching bad movies online. But it changed. It was something where I was like, I could see myself doing this a little bit more for work. So yeah, I did quite a lot. Did you? Were you on Zoom or Skype? Or?
No, not really. I was working through lockdown, although I did get caught speeding, and I had to do the speed awareness course, and that was all done via Zoom. So
yeah, of course, can't miss out on that.
No, I had to do that. Yeah,
you got to do that. So you did it on Zoom.
Yeah,
so all the grumpy faces of all the people. On Zoom and little squares rather than in person. Yeah, sadly I've done a couple of those too, and I think I prefer the Zoom version actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice the casting for this? They all use their own names, like Hayley is Hayley, Gemma's Gemma, Emma's Emma.
Yeah, certainly in the credits that made it a little bit more believable, didn't it? I like the little the way they use the Zoom layout for the credits. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll get it out there. I've seen this 3 times. I bought this version after watching it on Shudder a couple of times, and maybe downloaded it the first time. But the weird thing was the extra bit at the end this time. I don't know if you had this, where it showed a real séance that the director and the cast did.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, for me that took me out of it a little bit, because when I first watched it, it just stops, and then it stayed with me for a little bit. Like the film kind of sat with me, and it felt very real. Like the meeting ended, the Zoom ended. But then this time it went straight to another one. So yeah, I don't know what you thought. Maybe you'll say later on what you thought about that. But yeah, what did it have that kind of impact on you? Because it really stayed with me the first time. Maybe because we were right in the middle of it.
I understand what you mean. Especially with the last few films we've had, they've all just stopped. There is nothing after it. So I like that, and especially with these genuinely terrifying films that get you on the edge of your seat. I I personally, I enjoy the feeling of being scared. Some people think I'm weird when I talk about horror movies, but films like slashers and the old school films, they don't really scare me, they intrigue me. But films like this, where it could potentially be real, you know, whether you believe in ghosts kind of thing, but the jump scares and everything, I like that feeling. So the way it ended, I thought that was brilliant, but I do understand what you mean. It had that other thing at the end which kind of calms you down a little bit, takes you out of it.
I when I first watched it, my wife was sort of half watching it, and it definitely scared her. It scared me more than I thought it would as well. It's really well edited to make that happen. There's a real skill from the editor. She's called, I wrote her name down because it was an unusual name, Brenna Ranget. Like, because I was thinking, oh well, you know, there's no real cinematographer. It's all the vision of Rob Savage. But I was thinking that the editor had a lot of work to do to make all that work from all the different elements and making sure we were on the right person at the right time. It was probably a little bit more methodical, if you know what I mean, like from person to person, from screen to screen, how it all looked, to make it look as realistic as possible.
It is impressive how they pulled it off. Yeah, everyone doing it remotely themselves. But yeah, it's quite impressive how they managed to do that during lockdown.
On such a small budget. And it made close to $500,000 in total. Essentially the budget, I couldn't find how much the budget was. I just read somewhere a lot of it was just the goodwill of friends.
Yeah, I've got here the budget was 100k.
Really? Oh, yeah. Okay. So a lot more's gone into it than maybe. I mean, I suppose that's what makes it so good, is that it looks like that anyone could do it, but you really they couldn't.
Yeah.
It's like that balance of realism really works, and I suppose that is a relatively small budget for what it is. I think it was Shudder that paid for it directly. So like they have they'll have things like I think they have like a lighting consultant and cast and crew to pay and things like that.
I don't really know much about Shudder because I rented this movie from, I think it was on Amazon, but I rented it from Amazon. So this was a Shudder original. But did this also go to DVD, did you say?
I think so.
Or is there kind of a delay before they put it out anywhere else?
I'm not sure. I think there is when it's an original, and then I'm pretty sure you can buy it. I think it's on my wish list of ones to get for my narrowed down horror selection that I have. Like, it has to be like a sort of high rating film for me, or a very, very low rating film for it to be on my shelf, and Host is one I want to own. I do own it bought it for the same as you through Amazon, but watched it originally on like a free Shudder, like a free 7-day thing, trial. So yeah, it was pleasantly surprised. It was, like I say, we're watching it when that wasn't over, and we were still kind of in and out of those lockdowns. Made it feel like in a strange way, a nice collective experience, like somebody had done something creative to occupy their time, and I was sharing in it. Yeah. So I think maybe that's why, because my wife will never watch horror films with me, but she was kind of drawn in by it. I think as well, mainly female characters, quite relatable, quite normal. I suppose I'd say they came across as like sort of middle upper class people, but still like a group of mates from uni essentially, or from school. Well, probably uni with it. The American girl being there, probably they met her at uni or something. Yeah, are they all English except for Hayley? I know most of them are. It's a British movie, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's why it's so good that like Rob Savage is getting opportunities with bigger films now as well, because like it's great for sort of smaller British filmmakers making short films, and because he's just got his chance now because of creativity.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good. I mean, the thing is, you'll do something like that, you make a really creative film, and then they'll give you a Marvel film, and you have to make a Marvel film, and it's exactly the same as the other Marvel films, otherwise everybody hates it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how he'll go on with his Stephen King adaptation in terms of... I think I've heard good things about it. It might be a little bit... I don't know, for some reason, I just think it'll be like a lot of the sort of ones that hark back to 70s and 80s Stephen King kind of things. Maybe it'll be like a 6 out of 10 for everyone. I just have a feeling it'll be like one of those, like The Black Phone, where it's like a really good... I know that's Stephen King's son. It's like a good film, but I think most people were just like, yeah, it's good, and then moved on. I have a feeling The Boogeyman might be that. Whereas I think Dashcam interests me a bit more. It's a similar sort of idea to this, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. It's obviously found footage movie is a subgenre of horror, but I feel like films like this, where it's all done via webcams and phones, I feel like that's a subgenre of a subgenre. It's kind of, you know, because there's a few films now that have done via webcam. There was that Unfriended. I think they've done a couple of those, and there was another one I can't think of. But have you seen those, the Unfriended ones?
I haven't, and strangely, other than this, and I don't know why, maybe just the idea of this being a Zoom call or sort of the creativity, that none of those really interested me enough for me to want to see them. I think I've seen the trailer for maybe some Unfriended, or there's certainly one, is it where John Cho is looking for his daughter, but again, I haven't got around to watching those. I'm not sure whether I would even like going back to sort of holding cameras on shoulders and doing like Blair Witch Project kind of thing. I'm not like a massive fan of that. Like, I would prefer this over the Blair Witch Project. So yeah, which is strange. I saw Blair Witch at the cinema when it first came out, and I've never seen such a weird divided sort of reaction. So we had like half of the people stood up and booed, and the other half stood up and clapped. But yeah, it never really stuck with me. Maybe I need to revisit it. I was quite young at the time. But yeah, so found footage, not really your kind of thing. Did that put you off wanting to see this in the first place? To
be honest, this kind of slipped under the radar with me. Maybe because I don't have Shudder, or it just didn't pop up. I don't know. But I don't know. It's an odd one. It can be done well. I really liked the original Paranormal Activity, or maybe the first couple, but then they started getting a bit silly. I've never really been a fan of the Blair Witch Project. Unfriended, I thought that was good, you know, and that was kind of a good example of how found footage can be done well. But yeah, no, I did like this one. I did like it. I did struggle trying to make notes in this film. You know, I got lots of trivia and stuff like that, but notes throughout the films, throughout this film, I did struggle trying to think of some, because, you know, I like to talk about the score and, you know, the set designs and all that, but there was nothing. It was their own homes. There was no score, you know.
No, I mean, the sound design, I was thinking of the same thing, and I was like, actually, the sound design, like the scrapes of the chairs and the sick bang sounds and bumps, Teddy's music box, like that's your sound design, really sparse, but really well done.
Yeah, that's true.
Like so good that it took me maybe three watches of the film to kind of pick that up. Because like I say, it's so realistic, you just kind of go with it like you're watching. Like, you wouldn't sit and critique somebody's Zoom call, would you, and be like, oh, just love what they've done with that bookcase behind them, or like, oh, it's a wonderful lighting on their face, or whatever, you know, like. So I guess I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And I had to really, I suppose maybe watching it, say, the third time made that a bit easier, because I could kind of not focus on the story as much, because I could remember it, and just kind of focus on the things that maybe I hadn't noticed the other times.
Yeah, I did think it was quite funny at that post credit where they're actually doing a real run through of the film. it kind of sticks out more that it is just an actual lockdown film, because they're still in the same location as they are on the film. Like Jemma is just sat in the same chair in the same spot, and
they're still like drinking during the day, and they're all looking like they need the haircut, and they're all not. They've given up on caring what they look like, and but it's funny because it takes it back to a specific point. When Hayley's like just about to go online right at the beginning, she's fluffing her hair up and kind of just getting prepared for the meeting. I thought it was quite funny. There's loads of little like things that place it to the first lockdown, and like she talking to the dad, one of the dads about not going outside the house, and just kind of working stuff out in the same sort of way. I thought it was really good. That that actually brought some of the humour of it. There's not a lot of humour in the film, but
so what's your take on found footage? What do you think? Is there other ones that stand out for you, or is this kind of the only one that does it for you?
Off the top of my head, I nothing springs to mind. No, I can't think of anything other than this. That's kind of this is really an outlier, because I'm more likely to skew to older films. I'm more likely to skew to sort of classic horror setups and practical effects, and there are some practical effects in this, but this is quite different. I'm quite proud of myself for for even for sitting down and watching it, and I'm pleased that I liked it. I'm literally trying to think of one other found footage. I really can't think of anything. No.
There was a film that I really liked called The Visit. Have you heard of that? The Visit.
Is that M. Night Shyamalan?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Right, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Because I've seen that, I think, twice, and I really like that movie. But for some reason, I listened to a podcast of it or something, and people were saying, "Oh, it's such a good found footage movie." And I was thinking to myself, I was like, "Is it found footage?" I was like, I was totally put away from that. I think maybe it had found footage like aspects of it, like you get shots here and there. But
that's interesting. I don't know. What counts as found footage? Does somebody have to find it?
Yeah, I can't remember it being a found footage movie. I really liked the movie, but yeah.
You could just literally find could have like an extra minute on the beginning of every film, just have somebody finding a DVD or a VHS or something and going, "What's this?" Putting it in a machine and then watch it for the rest of the film and call it found footage.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not. In a way, it's opened my mind to the possibility of other sort of modern films being good. Obviously, as of you've kind of had me watch Insidious and then obviously I mentioned a few times that I really like Malignant.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that put me into that was that people were so anti the film, like just it's silly, it's stupid. I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. So I don't know how we get there sometimes with films, but we get there. A bit like you were saying about that one, The Visit. You're not sure how you got there, but you liked it.
Yeah. Right, before we head into the plot and start spoiling this movie, what recommendations would you give this movie? Like, who would you recommend it highly, or would you give it to a specific audience? So,
found footage, maybe, but you don't have. Obviously, I've proven you don't have to be a found footage fan. If you have some nostalgia for the pandemic, if you have like some sort of, you want to see what it really captures the zeitgeist of that particular time in the pandemic. It's accessible, but it is scary. So I think it's not a bad film. It's not. I don't know. I never say, "Oh, this is a starter one." I don't know what starter horror is. I don't really know how to define that. But I would say, for me, it's one that anyone could watch. There is some genuinely scary moments that make you feel like you're kind of in there and trapped in there. Really drags you into the situation. So yeah, I would recommend it to most people. Any fans of horror, definitely. And I'd give it 8. Oh, do you want me to give you my score?
Oh, we'll save that to the end.
Oh, well, it's going to be a big surprise later on. I haven't even got like an 8. Oh, damn. Something out of 10 thing, you know, like pandemics out of 10. But no, I don't know. So, yeah, I would recommend it. But would you?
Yeah, it's very quick and easy, 57 minutes. Sometimes when you're trying to find a film to watch and it's quite late at night, you feel, yeah, I know, but that's like 120, you know, a couple hours or something. But yeah, if you want something nice, quick and easy, you know, but definitely recommend it to people that enjoy found footage type films, as well as kind of jump scare type films. But
I meant to ask you, are you into roller coasters and things like that?
Yeah. I didn't used to be as a kid, but yeah, I don't mind.
That's interesting. Just because
because I enjoy being scared.
Yeah, because I hate them. Absolutely hate them.
Oh, really?
Like, if ever I take kids on school trips with them, I'm always the guy who takes the group off who wants to go on the teacups. Yeah, oh my word. So yeah, I just wondered if it was a kind of... Because obviously, I don't mind being scared watching a movie. It's different. I'm literally sat in my living room.
Yeah.
But I guess if you shook me around a bit and threw me around the living room, I wouldn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's because I started watching horror really young and I was kind of brought up on slashers, you know, the Michael Myers, the Jason Voorheeses. See, that's... I don't find them scary. It intrigues me because I think of it more of a movie type of view and what went into making that movie, you know, especially, you know, I love my practical effects. You know, I don't wince when you see a gory scene. I don't go, "Ooh!" I think, wow, that looks cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess for me, maybe that's why I watch your 80s and 70s and 60s and further back, and maybe some modern ones, some into the 90s, like definitely Jason, things like that, because I can definitely separate them from reality. The ones where there is, it feels quite realistic, I naturally back away from, maybe without even knowing about it, like Texas Chainsaw, the first one. I've watched the second one and I've not seen the first. I know people are going to be like, "You're horrified," but no. It just, yeah, I'm going to have to get around to that and overcome that. Certain ones that feel heightened reality really scare the crap out of me if they look very, very real. So whereas I can't do that with a Hammer film or Pete Walker film or any like that, or even like definitely Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers, all that, you know exactly what you're getting into. It's not scary. It's scary, really. There's nothing that scary about it. It's just fun, entertaining. Even John Carpenter, like last week, you know you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's realism. For me as well, like there's always that fear that some of the things actually are real, that the filmmakers have gone too far, you know, like, and then you go down a slippery slope of watching films that are just horrendous and have no real or very little artistic value, I guess, or I don't know, people could argue that they do, but yeah, it's interesting though that we're watching this one, and this is quite realistic, isn't it? We can place ourselves. Obviously, if me and you had decided to do a séance, we could recapture this film. I'm not doing that, by the way.
One thing I did find quite impressive when we just touched upon the like jump scares. Jump scares tend to rely on music to create that jump scare. Like, I mean, we just watched Insidious. Every jump scare you get in that is from a loud bang, you know, or screeches a violin, something that really shocks you, like not just visually, but, you know, through the audio. Obviously, this didn't have any audio, so it clearly just relied on what you are seeing, just the shock factor of the visual of what they are showing you. And that was just as effective as any jump scare I've ever seen from, you know, Conjuring or, you know, any of those movies that rely on the score.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of stunt. There's quite a lot of people in the stunt like team checking all the things and how they did that during the pandemic. I don't know, like how they were kind of not in physical contact but there and setting things up and probably dropping things off at people's doors and then telling them how to use the things, setting it all up. I suppose you could still keep a distance if you're pulling a chair on a rope or something, but wow, yeah, it's really creative. Sometimes it's a bit like when I used to teach writing, and if I had like a small group and wanted to do something fun, one of the things I used to do was like do this type of writing. I think it was called From the Aleppo group, and what they did was they'd choose a type of writing where it had 3 or 4 rules and you had to follow those rules. So you're like creative through the things you couldn't do. So you must only write sentences of this amount with this amount of words in, or you can only use this amount of adjectives, or it has to rhyme at this point, or it has to, like, you follow these sort of arbitrary rules that you different activities you can follow, and some really creative writing came out of it. And I guess that's what this film's like. They've got lots of 100% like things that they have to follow and still be creative, and they've actually made something incredibly inventive and creative beyond all the restrictions that they had. So I think that's I think that's really smart. I think that's the sign of a really good creator, like, is that you can do that within these things, the challenges of the time.
I know. I guess this is trivia, but I didn't have it in my my trivia notes. But I did read for a lot of the stuff going on. I'll try not to spoil it. I mean, it's not really spoilers, but they did kind of make their own. Well, they were all talked through how to make their own kind of contraptions, and next to where their, you know, computer or phone is, they'd have a little button, and they'd press that button to make, you know, doors bang or, you know, cupboards clash and stuff like that. So I'm not totally sure exactly how it works. I'm just aware that they kind of, each of them had a little button to press, and that's what... I
wonder how they rigged that up. They must have maybe gone out for their 1 hour of walking,
and
there's somebody come in, set it up and then leave.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Very interesting, though. Okay, right, should we head into spoilers?
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Spoiler warning.
Okay, right, let's go through the plot. So, on the 30th of July 2020, while the United States is under COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, a group of friends, Hayley, Jemma, Emma, Caroline, Radina and Teddy, have decided to hold weekly Zoom calls to stay in touch. For this week's call, Hayley has hired a medium, Salen, to lead them in a virtual séance. Teddy is forced to leave the chat by his girlfriend Ginny, who intentionally disconnects him.
Irritating Ginny.
Yeah. I've just got in my notes here, I've got Teddy's girlfriend as a twat.
so I guess when she goes flying up in the air, and like sort of chokes and dropped, like, oh, what a shame.
Yeah,
we never really got to know Ginny.
Yeah, that's what you get for disconnecting the chat.
It's quite it's a little bit extreme, isn't it, I guess, but yeah. It's funny, they're very good at creating character though, aren't they, from very little. Like, you know that she's rich because they're bitching about her. They know she's got a nice massive house, that they're always on Instagram, her and Teddy, loads of pictures of them on Instagram and like never on his own, and because he's obviously part of their little clique, that they kind of resent that a bit. So you get that about Ginny. We're taking on what they think about Ginny, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
We don't really know Ginny. And even the way they interact with each other, you get little clues to their dynamic and friendship group. It's really well done.
I felt really sorry for Salem, the what's she called? The medium.
Yeah.
I felt quite sorry for her because, you know, she joins this chat and, you know, this is her job, this is what she does, and none of them are taking it seriously at all. They're all just kind of giggling, laughing, taking drinks, you know, and all that. And I'm like, oh, poor Salem, you know.
They're typical like uni students having their own little in jokes and not wanting and being very like they've got their little core group and they don't want anybody in there to kind of, or if they do, they're just there as kind of like to, like you say, to make fun of. So it makes you like them a little bit less, which allows us to accept some of the stuff that's going to happen to them. But I guess like Jemma is the worst for that. Teddy is one of those guys where he's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm being a bit, you know, the little cheeky drink." But like Jemma is the worst. Obviously, I won't jump too far ahead, but I think Gemma's the character that has like probably the best arc, and there is a little twist with her character that I think is quite nice, and because you do sometimes tell your best friends to fuck off and get frustrated with them, but if you were in this sort of situation, would you just leave them? Would you just not care what happens to them and just start thinking about yourself, or you know? So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we get to that bit about Jemma right now. So during the séance, one of the members, Jemma, claims to feel an intense tension round her neck. Overcome with fear, she says that somebody called Jack is with her, a friend who committed suicide in her school by hanging himself. Salem's internet cuts out, disconnecting her from the chat. During this time, Jemma informs the group that she made Jack up because the silence was getting awkward, and that really pisses off Hayley.
Yeah, she's so good at being pissed off without saying she's pissed off, isn't she?
Yeah,
that I've seen that a lot, and like that's so well observed to somebody who, you know, is right on the edge of really telling Jemma what she thinks of her, but she's like, no, it's fine. I'm just gonna go pee or whatever it is, and she goes, and you can see she's like trying to keep it together, not be the party pooper, but equally she thinks it's not on. It's all the social awkwardness of like early Zoom era stuff is in this whole opening, isn't it?
Yeah. I was right there with their Hayley.
Yeah,
I was right there because I believe Jemma as well. You know, when she just starts laughing, it's like, oh yeah, I made it up. And I was like, for God's sake, Jemma.
It's funny when they're getting ready at the beginning as well, and she's kind of just sets the thing. I know this is going back a little bit, but when she sets the little camera on the side and everybody's coming into the thing, and Gemma's the first one on, I think, and she's like, oh no, she's not. But it's like, I just wanted to go back on, there's one bit that really stood out to me, which is only people in films have bowling balls in closets that fall out and like, I've never seen that in any other life, you know, never heard of anybody in real life. That it's just always in movies. It's like, oh, it was just the bowling ball falling. That's probably one of the few horror tropes that's in this film, that are really obvious. There are other ones, obviously, because there's that fear all the way through it, the fear of COVID, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, which is becomes replaced with something much more scary.
There's a couple of things that happen to Salem during this scene. You know, the first one is when you get a knock on the door and it's coming from hers. And she's gone for quite a while and everyone's like, Salem, where are you? And she just comes back, oh, is it a food delivery?
Yeah, that's when I was like, these are middle class folks, because they're like, oh, it was just the Ocado.
Yeah.
And I think she says it was Tesco or something. But they're like, oh, it was the Ocado. And I was like, oh, right, okay, we know what we're dealing with. Yeah. But yeah, it is. You hear the big metal shutters of the delivery van shut as well, like a bang. And I was thinking, that's the one thing that sets my dog off. If she hears that anywhere on our street, she goes bananas, because it is such a sudden and loud, out of context bang. So yeah, that they put that in there perfectly. And like you say, the fact that she just disappears. She's like, I'm just going to put this evil spirit in with you, then I'm going to go and get my shopping, and I'll come back. Oh my word! Yeah, she is. Not obviously, her internet connection is more to blame than her, but still, I think there's a level of don't do things if you don't quite understand what you're doing. Like, it's different than in person.
The other thing was when she got disconnected. Did you notice, like, she kind of like looked to the left and there was like a white something in her cam, that just right split second before it cuts off. It's like she sees something and you see like a kind of a white figure or something. Yeah. So I was like, oh God, that's her gone.
Yeah, she's invited this thing in, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that is interesting. But it's very inventive that you can let a spirit in via Zoom. Because essentially that's the premise, isn't it? It's like we've ended up inviting the spirit into all of these homes because if we were all in one place all together, this wouldn't be happening in the same way. They'd probably just get massacred really quickly. but yeah, it's like really clever way of thinking. It's like it's almost like, what if you downloaded a spirit? Like, what if your bandwidth was really good and you you downloaded a spirit through a séance? So good.
I feel like it should have been like said, like warned before they started. Oh, by the way, if you don't take this seriously, you might get possessed and die.
Yeah, you're inviting something in.
Very easy.
If you're being an idiot, then the spirits don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's very British as well, isn't it? To take the piss.
Yeah. Like
that's essentially you can't do something like that and take it too seriously because you can take the piss. Like we can't be like, oh yes. I can imagine like a group of American students. Okay, guys, right, we're going to do this, and they're all, and you might have the one jock who's just like, this is bullshit. But like in the UK one, they're literally, the American person's taking it really seriously, and all the others are just kind of either petrified or just wanted to take the mickey out of it and just being idiots. Yeah.
So the remaining members of the group begin to experience strange, terrifying phenomena. Hayley's chair is pulled by an unseen force. A hanging corpse can be seen in Caroline's attic when she goes to investigate noises, and Emma's glass spontaneously breaks. Hayley uses her Polaroid camera to snap a photo of her living room where a ghostly hanging figure appears on the print. So yeah, you get quite a lot happening in this little scene here. I thought.
What did you think about that? Do you like it?
Yeah, I did. I did like the fact when, which one was it? It's not Hayley. Oh, Caroline. When she hears a noise and she goes and has a look around, and you can see it's coming from the attic, and you see the camera just looking up at the attic.
It's like first person, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, I mean, that's one thing I would just not do. I don't mess around with that. But but she looks at it, and I think she like opens the hatch, maybe gets down the ladder or something, and she looks
she's
up.
Like, no.
Nope.
Yeah. She's like, no, runs away.
And then don't she get I think she gets a selfie stick, don't she? And like she pokes that up, and it's like the others that are looking around. So she isn't actually looking up there; it's her camera. and the others are like, oh, what was that? Look back. You just see like the feet hanging. That's
the Insidious moment, isn't it? As like going up into the attic and with less lipstick guys. Yeah.
I don't think
we do. We do.
I don't think they even told her about that, did they? Because she asked like what it was, and they were like, "Oh, I don't think you want to know."
It was like again, there's mention like Insidious as well of the astral plane, isn't there? But with it being British, they just take the mickey out of it, and every time she says astral plane, they're going to have a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I do the moment before that as well. I think it's really good where Hayley sneezes.
Oh yeah.
That did genuinely scare me the first time I watched it.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was like I was like, because they're all like, "Oh God, I can't believe you did that," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm right there with you." It was really funny.
Oh God!
And I think it scared my wife as well when she watched it. When we watched it, then we're both like, "Bloody hell!" Yeah, that was really, and I think that's completely unintentional. I think she just sneezed.
When Emma's glass breaks, obviously it freaks her out, but she comes back later and she says, that was an expensive glass as well. It's like, I really I've had that feeling as well. I've broken many of good expensive glasses. I feel her pain. I suppose that the first kind of shocking thing you see is Hayley's one where she gets dragged back in the chair.
Yeah, and that is like, there's a lot of like realistic moments where you'd just be like, you wouldn't automatically think it was something spooky. You'd just be like, what? Like WTF? They're like proper WTF moments, aren't they? They're like, what? Especially when watching somebody else, you want to be able to explain that thing away straight away, and because they're quite educated and quite cynical people taking having a bit of fun with it, to then have something you can't explain. It starts to unravel.
I think that was right in the middle of a potential argument between Hayley and Jemma. Things were getting a bit heated.
Yeah, they're like, you fuck off. Fuck off.
And then she just fires back across the room.
And that's scary in itself. I hate conflict, and I hate being in the middle of two people having an argument and being sat in the middle of it. So that for me is probably one of the scariest moments in the film. Oh my word, yeah. And they're just like, you fuck off, no, you fuck off. And again, this is a perfect plot point. Like that, there's a reason for them to fall out. It makes sense later on.
Yeah.
So it's funny in a way, it's realistic, it's all of those things, but it's also necessary.
As the girls panic, Hayley manages to get back in touch with Salem and informs her of everything that's happened. Salem believes and explains that Gemma's prank may have allowed a spirit or demon to access our world, entering the circle during the séance. Salem also informs the girls that the demonic spirit could be a Tulpa, which has taken on the guise of Jack in Gemma's made-up story, and begins to give them instructions on how to close the séance.
Yeah, like proper ad hoc stuff. Like, you just need to do this, and then pretend there's a rope, and then da-da-da, and it's all like, yeah. Hayley's the leader, isn't she?
Yeah.
But in this moment, she's not like Mac last week, where you're like, stick with Mac, you will survive. In this one, Hayley's a bit like, no, I think I remember how to do this.
So it's like, I thought Salem was gone there, and I thought that was it. I thought she was dead. But then, they get her on the phone, and then she gets cut off again. So
yeah, she must live out in the country somewhere. Yeah, it's if it's not getting a Ocado or a Tesco or whatever it was, we can debate what supermarket she has. But then it's her internet connection. It's like, she is not set up to do a séance over Zoom, is she?
Nah.
Not a good move. I guess if she was just like, I'm not doing it, then the whole film doesn't happen.
Yeah, they attempt to close the circle. Well, she gives them some advice, don't she, on how to close it down, and they try and do that, and they think that's that. Yeah. This is the sort of the sound engineering as well is quite good. I think the use of the Zoom settings, like cut off certain bits and put and make certain bits louder. Certainly when she was exploring the loft as well, that was good. And there's quite good use of space and empty spaces when people disappear off doing the different things, whether it's going to the bathroom or whatever. Like, it's really inventive. Even the bit with the girl
who is it? Caroline does the thing where she's walking up and down. Her background is her walking up and down in the background. Yeah. I don't know how to do that, but I've been fooled by that every time I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, she's this is like her background, essentially, like an animated background, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Caroline's probably the most scared, would you say?
You kind of get little glimpses of what's to come at the beginning, because she shows off her like artificial background, Zoom background at the beginning of at the call, don't she?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, look what I've got. And I'm thinking, all right, well, that's going to come up at some point in the film.
Whereas I just thought, oh, that's interesting. How do you do that?
Teddy's got his music box, his creepy music box, which comes back later on. I forget what everyone... Oh, yeah, Hayley's got the Polaroid camera, isn't she?
Yeah, which is 2 links to Insidious again, I think. The Polaroid, it does the same job as the Viewmaster in Insidious.
Yes,
and the music box is essentially Tiptoe Through the Tulips. It's that kind of creepy, plinky plink music that we have in... And except they've probably done that for millions of pounds less.
I forget what the others have. What did Jemma have?
Oh, I don't know. They just some of them just have candles.
Just random. No, they all had candles, but I think they all had to bring something that means something for them.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the others really stood out.
No, and like there's some humour in the bit. Have we up to the part, or have we gone past the part where Jemma has to own up and like Hayley tells on her?
Yeah. That's where they get sailing on the phone.
yeah, of course. So that really makes me laugh, because that's like the sort of a very much childlike thing, is like, tell him what you did.
Yeah,
it's like telling him off.
Because Salem's like really going along with this Jack story. And she was like, oh, so have you had contact with Jack? And Hayley's just like, yeah, Jemma, have you had contact with Jack?
Yeah. Their relationship, most of the humour comes from Jemma and Hayley, I think.
Yeah.
I'm glad, I don't know, it sounds a bit silly, but I'm glad that Teddy's not in it a lot anyway, because I would say that he's probably most irritating character. Probably more than his girlfriend, because we don't see her very much at all. But it's nice. He's in that little group of friends, and he's there for a bit of something different, I guess. He's like, there's a different dynamic there, because obviously with him being male, but also he's like obviously been their friend for a long time. That kind of works, but he is just a bit like one of those people who just pops in like, hello bitches, and you're just like, oh fucking hell, here we are. This guy again. It's hard work.
Believing the ordeal to be over, the members of the group begin to leave the Zoom call. Radina gets up and leaves the room to find out where her boyfriend is. Yeah, her boyfriend had just gone. They had a bit of a strop, didn't they? And everybody was watching it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They touch on that earlier, don't we? Because she like mutes her mic, and they go and have a little argument, and he storms off. And yeah, they're stuck together over lockdown, and apparently they don't really want to be together, but they've got nowhere else to go. Yeah. So it's dropping little things in that really place it. Like, there's probably loads of people who are in exactly the same situation. Moved in together before lockdown. Yeah. Oh my word. Yeah. So I guess that the rules to close it down are a little bit, like we said, Hayley takes the lead, doesn't she? How would you rate her effectiveness as a leader? Who, Hayley? Yeah. If you see her as a leader, I think she comes across as the more domineering one, or the one in charge. Yeah, she definitely does towards, well, I'll say towards, as the movie goes on, she kind of acts more as a leader, but at the beginning, I don't know, I feel like she's just kind of like sitting back and watching, taking it in kind of thing, like people aren't being serious, and obviously this was her idea to do this whole séance thing. From what I gather from the notes, is that every week each person does the Zoom call and they kind of take over of what they want to do that week. So this week was her week, and it was her idea to do the online séance. So yeah, I think that's
Good
obviously
idea.
why she's getting so annoyed at the beginning, because they're just taking the piss out of her idea. But yeah, definitely as the movie goes on, she kind of takes charge.
Yeah, she's an interesting character in it because being American, the dynamic is different with the sort of the more UK people, like we said before, and then obviously Teddy's very different again. But you do believe that they're all close and they're all friends. That friendship group is really believable, which is sometimes one of the hardest things to do in a horror movie. It's just all why are all these people friends? Like, you know, is it just a case of like the faculty or something where they're all in detention together, or like, well, I suppose that's from the Breakfast Club, but like, you know, how have they kind of come together? And I believe that they were all maybe in the same halls together or something at uni. It's really grounded in something that seems real. Like, it doesn't look like there's like a movie star in the middle of it who's going to kind of lead the way out of it, or what have you. So that helps, that she is a little bit useless at times, but they're all a little bit useless because this really weird thing is happening, and that's how you would deal with it. It's not like sort of the dad in Insidious going into the thing to solve the, you know.
I was going to ask as well, because obviously I got this plot, and you know, I've kind of edited it as I go through it, but this is I either got this from Wikipedia or IMDb, and the plot says that it was during United States lockdown. Does it say at any point in the film where they are? Because I just assumed they were in the UK. Oh,
they definitely are in the UK.
I know it was filmed in the UK, but is that where it's supposed to be set?
Yeah, I think it is, and I think maybe that might come from almost like a synopsis written for Shudder, being an American company, and the way they would promote it.
Oh, okay.
Like to get kind of everybody on board watching it. Just automatically assume everywhere is American.
Yeah.
That might be the reason. In fact, I would say that probably is the reason, because it's other than obviously Hayley, it's very British and with a British director as well. Even the little social, because there'll have been different things that you could probably laugh about from an American point of view that people did culturally during the pandemic that might be very different to how the people in Britain handled it. You know what I mean? There might be just little subtle things that maybe watching that film, Americans must be like, well, we didn't do that during the pandemic, or we didn't behave like that, or that wasn't. But then again, the rules were all slightly different, weren't they? In different places, like they probably did it like state by state. Every state was different, whereas ours was like, okay, Britain, you're doing this. So yeah, it's a good point to bring up though.
So Caroline's artificial background is interrupted as her face is smashed into the camera and causing her laptop to fall. I did see this coming, like I just said earlier. They touch on her artificial background earlier, and I'm thinking, all right, well, that's going to come up later. And this is obviously where it comes up. You see her thing, and they even notice it as well. They sit there and they start talking to her, and they're like, oh, no, wait, hold on, this is her background. She's not actually there. Then all of a sudden, her face is just woof right towards the camera.
Oh, how good is that, though? So cleverly done.
Yeah.
They're like, what's she typing? And it's just like random letters. They're like, what's she typing? What's she trying to say? And then it's like, bang, her face into the... That makes it scary, because I was drawn into like, what is she trying to tell them? She's not trying to tell them anything. That's what happens when someone's face is smashed against the keyboard.
I didn't even notice that bit with the typing. It's like,
see, I think that's what made it so good.
I saw it coming, but it still scared the crap out of me. Just see someone's face flying against the camera.
Yeah, I just thought maybe a keyboard's faulty or something like that, but no, It's her face being mashed against the keys.
For people listening, you know, we do this podcast over Skype. You know, maybe I should do that to you. Maybe I should make an artificial background.
Oh, are they going to say smash my face against the keyboard? Yeah, press the any key. Press the any key.
Oh, God. Emma's camera shows one of her filters on an invisible figure in the living room, which turns to face her. She then scatters flour on the floor, showing footprints of the spirit coming towards her and causing her kitchen cupboards to burst open before this spirit attacks her, causing her to hide in her room. That, yeah, I did like this. This scene very much reminded me of The Invisible Man, the remake.
Ooh. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good. I like that. That's a good film.
Especially with the flour on the floor. I think they do that in that film. But yeah, the flour on the floor. You can see the footprints.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen. Are we past the blood on the lens part, or is that Caroline?
No,
or is that somebody else?
No, we're not quite there. I think that's the next one.
I was going to say, because that's another really nice little touch. Even the way that she's scattering the flour is a bit rubbish.
Yeah,
like in a Hollywood movie, it'd be like, you know, very well scattered, but she's just kind of so scared. She's just kind of doing it badly.
I did think that face filter was quite genius. You know, obviously she's got her camera up and the filter's on, and then the camera recognises that there is someone there, and facial recognition puts a face on it. That's quite unique. You know, you've not really seen that before. So
you're using every tool at your availability to make it inventive and scary. Yeah, I love that.
I did recognise that filter as well. I mean, I don't use, you know, I don't know where it's from, if it's like a Snapchat thing, or does Zoom have their own filters on there? I don't know. I
think they do. I don't really use them, to be honest. But I mean, I know that every time I get online with you, you've just got giant bunny rabbit ears on. But no, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure. I imagine that Zoom has its own different ones. Yeah. In fact, I know for a fact they do sometimes, because when I've sometimes had meetings with people and they've accidentally had them on or whatever because their kids had them on. So yeah,
I'm sure I have seen that filter around, so I'm assuming it's a real one that they've taken. I take
myself far too seriously to be messing around with things like that.
Okay, I think this is the bit that you're on about. Radina attempts to flee her home after her boyfriend's dead body drops in front of her, but she's pulled away from the door and killed by the spirit. Caroline is killed as she pleads for help when the demon repeatedly smashes her face onto the desk. So I think it's Radina, where her boyfriend drops from the ceiling out of nowhere and just splat.
That's what you get. That's what you get for falling out.
Yeah.
She's like, I never liked him anyway.
It's like, how long has he been up there? I didn't see him get up there.
I don't like these. If you have the filter on with the ViewMaster filter or the from the other film, you'd just be like the demon just sort of really getting an achy arm holding him up.
Because doesn't her oven go off first? Doesn't her oven start a little fire and they're all shouting at her saying, "Oh, your oven!" And then she goes to put that out and then waft, her boyfriend just drops.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and that little bit of blood on the lens is really effective because that's out of the ordinary. I suppose it's making the ordinary a little bit extraordinary. We don't tend to see blood splatters on our laptop lenses.
Yeah. And then Caroline is officially killed off when it goes back for seconds, smashing her face against her desk.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be
I suppose it's quite aggressive, isn't it? More aggressive than I remember it to be.
Yeah. That must be quite a terrifying situation to be in, being on a Zoom call and then something's happening to someone on their side and there's absolutely nothing that you can do other than just watch.
Yeah. You're right. The fear of being helpless.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing, isn't it? If something bad happens to somebody you love and care about and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh my word. There's millions of films, well, not millions, there's lots of films made about that kind of feeling. You know, whether somebody's died in a fire and you couldn't get them out or whatever it is. It's where human pain comes from, isn't it, really? Like, sort of emotional pain, I suppose. For a lot of people, anyway. So, yeah, that must be really horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if something starts happening to me now or someone's behind me, I want you to let me know. But I want you to be like, oh, I'm helpless. Can't do anything about it.
All I can do is type.
Yeah. It's like, what's he trying to say? It's like just letters. And then your face is like...
So Hayley and Jemma argue, blaming each other for what has occurred, when Hayley is pulled out of the room. Jemma, who lives just round the corner from Hayley, immediately leaves her home to try and help her.
But that's up in the air, isn't it? We don't know that. We think she's just like, I'm going. I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
That's how I read it. I thought it was just like, she's like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. I found it quite funny how, like, she's in a bit of a panic and she has to get out. But before she does, I need my mask. And she has to put her mask on.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't forget your mask.
That's where the humour comes from, yeah. Like, I'm going to get disemboweled by a demon, but I don't want to catch COVID.
There's a demon trying to kill you, but I need my mask.
Yeah.
Can't leave my house without my mask.
Yeah. Got to stay a certain distance away from the demon. This demon does not respect the British government's COVID rules. What's going on?
Oh, you obviously didn't watch Boris on the TV.
No, I'll join the club. Yeah, I can read about it afterwards. I don't want to listen to the guy. Yeah, so she just bolts, doesn't she? She's just like,
yeah,
out the door.
She is out.
Yeah. And Emma's like, guys.
Yeah. Teddy then returns to the call. As 10 minutes remain until the Zoom meeting ends, unaware of everything that has occurred, the spirit, in the form of a horrifying figure, attacks him. Chased through his house, a panicked Teddy witnesses his girlfriend's neck being snapped by an unforeseen force before he himself is knocked down and set on fire and eventually killed.
A bit of everything for Teddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of everything. He gets that, I think, because the demon's like, so what, you're going to put a creepy little puppet walking into the thing? Yeah. Okay, I'll show you something creepy. I'll show you. I just put Teddy being a prick, and he really is, isn't he? Like, in this moment, you're like, oh, Teddy, do not need this.
Yeah.
So it's quite bleak, actually, when Teddy's attacked, isn't it? And she's shouting at him. She's like, "You're going to die if you don't get up."
Yeah, and he's so chirpy. He's so happy and chirpy, just like messing around still. He's like, "Oh, what's been going on? Come on, chill out. Come on, cheer up." And it was like, "Yeah, all right, your time's coming soon, mate." And but yeah, this is the first time you actually see like a visual demon. Like everything's been, filters and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you see it twice, don't you? I mean, once on the stairs, he's running around the stairs, and then another time, I think, in the garage.
I always miss these things. I miss these things. I'd miss it in The Exorcist. Like, I miss all these things. But yeah, I think, you do see it near the fire, near when he's on fire.
I think you see it twice.
Right.
I forget what the other one was, but you definitely see it when he's in the house and he's trying to get out. He runs into a demon that's kind of all curled up on the stairs. Yeah, you get this face.
This demon face, and then there's one called Legs as well.
Legs. I think Teddy, I mean, that's not his real name. I can't think what his real name is. But he's actually I think he's a stuntman or a pyrotechnic. So
okay.
He did the whole him setting himself on fire. Obviously, that was just him.
Just showing off.
Yeah. I mean, that was quite terrifying. If there's things I hate, it's, drowning and set on fire. I hate scenes like that. Yeah. It's like a slow death, in it, and he's screaming, and it's very uneasy.
There was a podcast. There was a podcast recently with a guy, the drummer from the Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson, and how he died drowning. And they were like, the podcast was sort of fictionalizing part of his story, and it had him drowning, and obviously he had his run-in with the Mansons, and Charles Manson, the Manson family, and had this kind of... And in his dream, he's like trying to swim down and fight against Manson holding him under the water. And I was listening to it, it really took me out of it, because I was just like, no, he's probably just drowning. Like, he's probably just thinking, shit, I'm drowning. Like, you probably don't think of much when you're drowning other than, shit, I'm drowning, and I don't want to be drowning.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so yeah, no, I totally understand that. Yeah. It really took me out of the story. It's really good sort of mixture of fiction and non-fiction podcast called Disgraceland. But it just took me out of it, because I was just like, yeah, he's not thinking about Charles Manson at this moment. He's probably just thinking, I can't breathe. So yeah, and like, so Teddy's gone essentially now, and what does Emma do? Emma throws a sheet.
Yeah, Emma is now the only person still active in the call. Fearfully turns her camera to the doorway of her room after her door suddenly opens, and she throws a blanket which lands on the invisible spirit, showing its outline. She's terrified. Emma opens the window to flee, but accidentally falls to her death.
Oops.
Yep.
Yeah, oh dear. We've got an old school ghost there as well, don't we, with the sheet over it?
Yeah.
Just going, woo!
Yeah, got a proper Scooby-Doo ghost.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think her phone kind of falls out the window first, and it lands on the floor, and you get this perfect image of a picnic table, and smash, then goes Emma straight through the table.
More people be scared about losing a laptop or a phone and getting that smashed than they would like a person falling. They'd be like, oh no, can you imagine how much that'll cost? Yeah, that's the real fear, the real horror in this film.
Yeah.
The tech getting smashed up.
So we're now down to the final part now, where it's just the last one left. Well, we assume it's the last one left, Jemma. So Jemma arrives at Haley's home and finds out by looking at Haley's laptop that both Emma and Teddy are dead. The invisible spirit throws a bottle at her head while the cupboards burst open.
It's quite funny, actually.
Yeah, I shouldn't laugh, but I did find it quite humorous. The bottle just... No noise, just see this bottle, donk, right on her head, knocks her out.
Yeah, it's that. I think those sort of sudden boink sounds are funny.
Yeah. Like,
doesn't matter how you frame it.
All I've got in my notes is she got bottled by a ghost.
yeah. It was Gemma's down at that point, isn't she?
Oh yeah.
It's funny when like she obviously, this is her character arc. This is her. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to save Haley, even though we love to hate each other and we shout at each other. I'm going to go and save her. And that massive moment where they're going to hug and then they do the elbow bump instead to avoid COVID really made me laugh. I thought that was really good. It's like, whoop, COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I think as well, we get a reminder at this point, that it's obviously the Zoom is a free account. At that point, you had the 60 minutes. So I was really like conscious of the time when Jemma and Haley got back together.
Yeah. So she manages to find Haley hiding under her desk, and the pair attempt to escape the house using the flash on Haley's Polaroid camera to light the way. The invisible spirit suddenly appears in the flash of light in the form of a man with a mutilated face, and it rushes at them, and the Zoom call timer immediately expires. Yeah, that's quite a jump scare there. I think it's at that point where I text you, I was like, yeah, I need a new pair of underwear now.
I just thought you wanted me to buy you some underwear. I was like, okay, I guess.
You're responsible for this. You made me watch it.
I think it's very rare you watch a film where there's a countdown. Well, obviously, if there's like a bomb or something, but like 40 seconds, I noticed it and I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's a really good way of finishing it.
And the end credits, it's not normal credits, is it? It's just someone scrolling through the contact list on Zoom.
Yeah,
I thought that was very, very good, very unique.
Yeah, and I think, wasn't it like the sound recordist, their video doesn't work.
Oh,
like they've got a little line through it.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, and that's the film. But then obviously we get the post credit. Where you see the cast and crew all on a Zoom call as they prepare for the film, and they do their own séance.
Didn't want to see it. Like I said before, I don't think I really wanted to see that.
No,
we've actually talked longer about the film than the film is, like the length of the film.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it needed it right there. It'll be a good bonus feature or something, that you can go out and watch yourself, But
yeah, it took me right out. I was like, "What the hell's this?" Because I hadn't seen it in the other two times that I'd seen it.
It was interesting though, like to see.
It was. You could see the moments they put. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the stuff actually happened in their little, prep for the film. They were doing a real séance, and was it Jemma? I think something happened to Jemma. She heard a noise or a bang or something in her one. So how true that is, I don't know, but.
Yeah, because there's bits that they've obviously taken from that, isn't there, and put in the film. I maybe, to use a well-worn phrase, maybe don't need to see how the sausage is made. Like, I'll just take it. Like I like the idea that it was just some practical joke that he did with his friends, or some idea that he had with his friends. Like didn't really need to see that, but I would be nice to have chosen to watch it maybe on a Blu-ray or something and watch an extra.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think you said the same thing. So.
Yeah, I agree. Special features, keep it on there.
Yeah, because realistically, as time has gone on with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that, I think we all watch. There's so much content. There's so many things to watch, and so much that we watch less and less of the extra stuff. Like I used to sit and listen to DVD commentaries on nearly every DVD I owned. That does not happen now.
Well, you've already teased what your rating is, but do you want to?
Well,
I wonder what you're going to rate it.
A strong 3. Yeah, I'm just. I can't think of well, it's debatable if it's funny, but I can't think of a humorous thing. Have you thought of a? I was just going to say 8 out of 10. 8, because this is bare bones film, isn't it? So like this is down. I'm just editing down anything into, beyond the, there's nothing superfluous. This is a short 57-minute thing, so I'm just like 8 out of 10. That's it.
I just put Zoom demons.
Zoom demons.
Zoom demons.
Zoom demons. Yeah, 8 Zoom demons out of 10 for me. For all the reasons I said earlier on, I just think it's an incredibly inventive film. I really recommend, if people haven't seen it, to go out and watch it, regardless of what sort of area of horror you like the most. Give it a go.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm going to mirror pretty much what you just said, but this is the first time where we've actually got the same score. I've rated this an 8 out of 10 as well. Yeah, definitely.
I actually moved it up.
Yeah.
I had it as 7.
Oh, did you have it on 7?
And I moved it up to 8 after watching it this time.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed this film. I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. Obviously, found footage, like I said, are a bit hit and miss. But yeah, fully engaged all the way through, packed full of scary moments. It didn't seem too rushed with it being a very short film. It didn't seem to like cram everything in there. I think everything happened at a very nice pace. And yeah, leaves you feeling very uneasy. And that's the whole point of the film. So yeah, I think it was very effective and yeah, overall a very good film. So 8 out of 10 Zoom demons.
Nice. Like it.
Awesome. Should we head into some trivia?
Yes.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Trivia. Oh yeah.
So based on a short film by director Rob Savage, where he pranks his friends during a Zoom chat, pretending to be attacked by something in his attic. He didn't inform his friends in order to get their genuine reactions to it. The video was released online and it went viral. Savage then approached Shudder about making a feature-length film.
Yeah, so he obviously must have a little bit of traction behind him to reach out to them and get that funding to do it. it's such a great idea. So yeah, fair play to him to do that, and like it's had so much acclaim and awards and what have you, and it's really helped his career. It just shows what having an original idea will do.
Have you seen that the short film of this, like his actual video that went viral?
No, I haven't. I was wondering if I was going to search it out, and then I wondered if it was the actual one with the cast, and I was like, well, it can't be, can it?
No,
because unless they were his friends. I don't know. I'm confused. But yeah.
Although scripted, the cast was allowed to improvise. For instance, the moment when Hayley sneezes and the cast reacts to it was not planned. So a bit like the bit that scared you, her sneeze.
That's great.
Parts of the script were redacted, so the cast didn't know what would happen throughout. Certain things were pre-recorded and played back for the cast to get their genuine reactions.
Yeah, and I know that they showed like little horror movie clips to put them in the zone of being scared.
Yeah, that was good.
It made me think, like, if you were trying to make someone scared and you wanted to show them little clips of things, I know this is putting you on the spot, but what sort of thing would you have them watch?
Oh,
you can edit this down because it's a tough question.
Yeah, it is a tough question. If it's to actually genuinely get them scared, I'd probably go for a newer film rather than an older one. I don't know. Maybe something from the Conjuring universe, something that's quite out there.
Okay.
Something that's more, jumpy, because they're known for their jump scares. Maybe like the Annabelles or the Nuns, something like that.
Just creepy toys and stuff.
Yeah. Although saying that, have you seen Megan or Mafregan?
No.
Yeah, that was quite creepy, like an AI doll.
Creepy stuff. I was thinking like giallo kind of touching eyes things, always like either somebody slicing eyes, or even like something from Suspiria, like the razor blades and things like that. But I don't know whether I want to absolutely petrify people or creep them out. So I guess I don't even know the answer to my own question. But yeah, it's whatever they did, it worked really well because you felt that they were genuinely in the moment.
Yeah. God, I'm going to be thinking about that for a while now.
You can always edit that bit down and then go back and have a completely different answer.
I'll probably come back next week and I'll be like, oh yeah, remember that question you said last week? I'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, that's it really. My last one was just going to be that one where the director got them to watch horror clips to get them a bit scared. But yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
I stole that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the stuff I've got for trivia, unless you got anything else.
No. To be honest, with more modern films, I guess a lot of the things that are like unusual trivia pieces tend to be things that are out there already, or general as part. I wonder if it's a little bit more cynical now, like they kind of just release these things as interesting parts of the press pack for people to kind of go, oh, that sounds interesting, I'll watch that film.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past you had to like search out all these things. They just released the film and you kind of take it as it was.
Yeah.
A bit like we were saying about The Thing. I'm sure those thousands of pieces of trivia that we had about The Thing, I'm sure at the time nobody knew about them. Yeah,
that's very true. Yeah.
Maybe the odd movie magazine who'd come and visit someone on set and ask them a couple of questions.
It's so easy just to find everything about every movie now. It's really hard to actually dig deep and find something that someone doesn't know that they could just Google themselves.
Yeah, so no more trivia for us, that's it. We're done.
I'll just rename it stuff you already know.
Yeah.
Cool, right. We normally end on a fun game, but this week I've got something different. It's not so much a game, it's just I don't know what you would call it. A cool little segment, something funny. Bad reviews for good movies.
Oh.
So I've screen
good
grabbed
reviews for bad movies.
Yeah. I've screen grabbed a load of comments that people have left about which I find good movies. And some of them are just hilarious. Some of the things.
Am I supposed to guess the movie, or is it not a game?
No,
game?
It's not a game. I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
I've got
okay.
How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 films, but I've got 2 reviews from each film.
Okay. I get you. I'm on it.
They're all 1 stars. Right, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. From Liz Cochran. She says, I genuinely would like my time back. Worst ending ever. Also, Texas lady for life. I'm sorry, but this was so horrible. They tried to make up for the bad writing with lots of gore.
Well, I'm afraid you can't have your time back, because that's not how time works, I'm afraid. So, sorry.
Another one for Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Liliana F. Horrible. I am not a fan of those old horror movies. The picture, the story, characters, all stinks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's everything then. That's going down the list.
Okay. A heavy-hitting horror movie here, The Exorcist. Vishal says, it's very bad movie. Even a small child can watch a movie like this. I just wasted my mobile data. Please be careful while choosing such bad movies to watch for fun. Sad face.
So if it's a bad movie, it's in ultra high definition and uses up a lot of your data? Or that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Like, download a really low quality copy of it and it would be a better film.
Oh, God.
It's like, it's used up all my data for the month. What have they downloaded? Like, ultra 4K on their phone, and then God knows what they're doing. Come on now.
I think Mini Paul has a better one for The Exorcist.
Mini Paul.
Nice. Never seen it, never will, in capital letters. I don't care if it's fake or not, but it just scares me without even watching it. Do yourself a favour and go watch a bad non-horror movie instead.
Well, I kind of get that. I mean, I will watch it eventually, but that idea of like, he's basically saying I'm too scared to watch it, isn't he?
Yeah, I just like how he's like gone in there and just purposely made a review 1 star, even though he's never watched the film.
I'm not going to review a film I haven't seen. That's my one rule.
Never watched it, never will. 1 star.
Yeah, 1 star. You could have been never watched it, never will. 5 stars because you genuinely don't know, do we? An odd thing to do. It's just offended by the idea of the film.
Okay, this one's for Jaws by Trey Robsey. He's given Jaws a 1 star because he says this movie is too terrifying for kids and some teenagers around. This movie should be banned. 6 thumbs down.
Ooh, 6 thumbs down out of 10. So it should be banned. Yes.
I just want to say as well, he spelt this wrong. He spelt TBIS.
Oh, okay. I think it's a God knows what he's going to make out of some of the films that are around now. It's like, that's Jaws, dude. He's like, Jaws is probably on TV now at like 6 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Yeah, it's times change, don't they? What's kind of? I imagine there was people out there going in the 70s going, this Steven Spielberg must be stopped.
I got another one for Jaws from John Sharp. John Sharp.
Oh, not Shark.
No.
He's like, this film misrepresents all sharks.
Well, this is quite funny because he's given it a 1 star and all it says is, I liked the part with the shark.
So he's not a big fan of where they're singing on the boat, or the meeting, or eating at the kitchen table, having breakfast. No, none of those things.
Nope.
Just the shark bits. Yeah. Ironically, we don't see that much of the shark in the film, do we? Really?
No.
This is the best bit. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. When did we do Insidious? That wasn't our last film, was it? It was the one before?
The Thing was the last one, so
okay.
Insidious was before that, yeah.
So a couple reviews ago, I got a couple from Insidious. This is from Kafaya? Kafaya? There, let's just say she's called Kafaya. 1 star. And bear in mind, this is all in capital letters. So creepy. I hate horror movies. I don't know why I click on it. I'm so creep out, I will have nightmares. Wow.
Whoa. That's it. That was my review for Insidious as well.
Was that you? Are you okay?
Yeah, that's me. That's how I feel. Yeah, and then I just tried to bring it all back down to earth, and then I just went through my notes and I cut all that out. And I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I can't." Sorry, can I message you? I think I must have unsent it, just saying, can I just write where? Can I just say where when we talk about it? It was like somebody obviously forced that person to watch the film.
Oh God!
Because obviously, why would you watch it if you know you're going to hate it?
Oh, well, this is this is on the same level for Insidious by Brandon A. 1 star.
Okay.
I never watched the movie, and I'm not going to. So 1 star only.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a fair comment. Fair comment. I think, yeah, we should definitely do more reviews for films we've not seen. In fact, that should be our whole podcast now, is just like list loads of films, and then we'll just like tell people the reasons why we don't like it or like them. Obviously, the proviso is we've not seen any of them.
Yeah, that can be our next podcast for our next episode. We'll just start the show and we're just saying, I didn't watch it, I don't like it. And that'll be it. That'll be the whole episode.
That's mainly the reviews for our podcasts as well, which is I don't listen to it and I don't like it. 1 star.
So, The Shining.
Too shiny. 1 star.
Mary Anderson. It was awful, it was awful, it was awful. Biggest waste of time. Shower scene though. Worst 2 hours. Fell asleep for half and still know exactly what would happen.
Oh, too clever for the film, obviously. Too smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a waste of time. It's a long film as well, so if you're wasting your time on this, you've wasted a lot more time than say if you watched Host and thought that was a waste of time.
I wish I could sleep halfway through a film and know exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. You must have dreamt the film.
Maybe she's got The Shining.
Maybe. Yeah. It's a surname Torrance.
The Shining by Gia Ima. Overhyped, unscary, and watching it felt like I was drinking water. Make of that what you will. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you should drink as much water as you can, as I'm desperately trying to now. We need a sponsorship from Air Up or somewhere. And then because it made you feel like you're drinking water. That's great. It's better than saying made me feel like I was being waterboarded, or made me feel like I was being, I don't know, like I was drowning. So it's not too bad.
You know how you get some films have reviews on the front of the DVD box from newspapers and stuff. It should be that one. Gia Iama. Felt like I was drinking water.
Yeah, felt like I was drinking water. 1 star. It's like, or on our podcast, we could just have things on it that say things like 5-star rated eBay or things like that. Yeah, or this was, fucking terrible, but then just put 5 stars on the beginning of fucking, so it looks like it was 5 stars.
Okay. The last 2, and they are both for Host.
Oh dear.
Chris Rowe says, if I could give it 0 stars, I would. It was by far the worst movie I have ever seen. No plot, low budget, short, and unbelievable. This even made it to DVD.
Oh, so yeah, thank you for that.
Wow.
So it made it to DVD. He's complaining that it's short, so if it's longer, would it have been better?
And low budget.
He hates everything about low budget. It would have automatically made it a better film if it was like half an hour longer. What was that guy called?
Chris Rowe. Maybe we should get him on the pod.
Yeah, come on, Chris.
He clearly knows what he's talking about, so, you know.
Yeah.
Let's get him on.
It's like, it is low budget, and maybe some people don't like that. I get that. Maybe they want the big Hollywood blockbuster. This is not Endgame. This is literally someone falling off a chair.
Someone sliding across the room.
Yeah, this is someone sliding across the room on a chair rather than collecting the Infinity Stones. So it is slightly different in that sense. So if that's not your thing, that's okay. I sometimes like to watch Iron Man shooting around on, but also sometimes like to watch these things. That's okay, Chris. Don't worry about it. Just watch a different film.
So, last one for host. The Tanja Bolden gave it 1 star. Another shaky cam bore fest. No horror till the end. Movie was so boring, I read a book through most of it. This movie was not scarier than Sinister, which is the only reason why I watched it.
Oh, to compare Sinister to this?
Guess so.
Right, wow. Because nobody said, I don't think anyone, all my research, I don't know if nobody's compared this to Sinister.
Nope.
Except this person who's like, it better be scarier than Sinister, or otherwise I'm out. I'm going to read a book, and you're going to try and scare me, get my attention from my book. I'm reading War and Peace, I'm focusing on this book. You better be so scary that I look up.
Maybe Sinister is like the only other movie that she's watched, and she's like, I hope it's like Sinister.
I've read, I read a book through every film. I can't remember any film I've seen. I've only ever watched one other film, and it was Sinister, which was amazing. This one does not compare.
Every now and then, you just look up from your book.
Yeah.
Back to it.
I suppose that it's the sort of low-tech version of people sitting watching a film and scrolling through the phone. Yeah. Which I have to stop myself doing at times. So okay, we're okay. She's much smarter. She bees much smarter than me because she uses her book rather than a phone.
All right, that's it for the bad reviews.
Yeah, screw you guys. You know nothing about. No, okay, I'm joking.
Yeah,
it's good fun. We'll have to do it next time where we can guess. I'll read one or you read one, and we have to guess what film we're talking about based on the review.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's too much shark or whatever it was.
Is there anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just if you've not seen the film, obviously probably the wrong podcast to listen to because we just spoiled it. But maybe you stopped at that point. And then go and watch it because it is great. It's a great film. Yeah.
Just before I head out, I just want to touch on 2 things. Shout out to Anthony Soto 2923. He gave us a really nice comment on YouTube, so thanks for that.
Good man.
Yeah. And next week will be our first poll pick. So the poll pick was for vampires, and the Lost Boys won that. So we'll be doing our first poll pick, which is the Lost Boys, next week.
Nice. Let's get some worms in.
Yeah. So I think next episode, so next week, I think we'll announce what the next poll pick will be, which should be up and running by that episode. So yeah, be sure to look out on Facebook so you can vote for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. Oh, no, you're not talking directly to me, sorry. Right.
There we are. Cool. If you've liked today's episode, be sure to go and like us on Facebook. That's where we announce our next episodes, as well as each month doing a themed poll pick where you get to choose what you want us to watch. We like to hear from you, so please feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you could even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Go to some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you. Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.